Real quick NBA question for you, because I know as we're winding down the end of the year, a lot of positioning is going on right now, in particular in the East. Embiid coming back. They're in the 8th position right now, trying to see if they can inch up a little bit more as they head into the playoffs. Thoughts on Embiid coming back and where ultimately maybe Philly could be if he's healthy?
Yeah, well, if he's healthy, they can certainly make a run, conference finals, maybe NBA finals if he's fully healthy and plays every game in the playoffs. The problem is he's never done that, and we just don't know. And so him coming back changes the Sixers dramatically. So, we'll see what he's like when he comes back. But for me, it's still Milwaukee and Boston, and then we'll kind of keep our eyes on Philadelphia to see what they're going to be like and what he's going to be like. If he is even close to 100% and he can post, you do get the days off in the playoffs, which I always thought was going to be a benefit for Embiid. But, all the series we've done, especially when you and I were together and when we were there for that collapse against Atlanta, he hasn't been able to do that. So until that time, we can only just speculate on what they could be. But I hope he's healthy. It'd be great for the game. It's great for him, great for great fans in Philly too. They need him to be healthy. And so I'm curious, but the book's still out. So it's going to be fun though. The East is not as good as the West, in my opinion. I still think Denver is the best team. I do think Oklahoma City's to be reckoned with though. They're a young group that kind of just, we'll see how they go in the playoffs, but they kind of can beat you in any way. So I'm really high on Oklahoma City. I think Minnesota's really good as well. So some new blood in this mix is always interesting. And, the playoffs, I'm jumping back on the NBA Thursday, and we'll stick with the NBA through the NBA playoffs. And Jimmy, you'll be a part of that too. And so it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I love this time of year because now they start playing hard. You match the skill with the effort, which we don't always get in the regular season. So to see these players at this level go at it like they do, it's an awesome time of year when all the sports are kind of converging here at once.
Yeah, that's the part I love about it too, is that we get down, you kind of separate yourselves team-wise, because there's a lot of storylines, and I'm with you on this, because in the West, at the top of the ledger with OKC youth, you're like, okay, the thing I love about OKC is this, Brian, and you can understand this, is that they're young, but they play mature. Like, everybody knows that it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's team, but then everybody like Jalen Wilson, they kind of fit back in. Chet Holmgren, they understand how to play. That's what makes them so tough. But they haven't been through the gauntlet of winning in the playoffs yet. And that's a thing that you have to look for. The Lakers itself, in that, 9th, 10th position, can they move up? Do they have to go through 2 games? They were there last year. Do you count Anthony Davis and LeBron James out? From that perspective, What's going to happen with Golden State? It's so many intriguing questions. I think if you're the NBA, you love it because it's still coming down like last year to the regular season, the last week or so, as to positioning. Who's where, who's in the play-in game, who has number 1 seed. The Clippers are an interesting story. So as we melt into the playoffs, is there a storyline or two that you look at that you can say could be intriguing as we enter into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, you hit on it there, because you and I talk about this all the time, because every matchup that we're going to have, so we'll get into the play-in, but once we get through the play-in, no matter what happens, every matchup is going to be intense in a way. So if you're Oklahoma City and you end up drawing the Warriors, I mean, that gets your attention right away. Or you draw the Lakers and LeBron and AD right away. The top to the bottom, there's not that gap, at least from a narrative perspective, or, as we look at it from a television perspective, the entertainment clip is going to be high, because you're going to get like high level teams. We always go to the Lakers and the Warriors, no matter how they're playing, even though Charles Barkley wants us to eliminate Lakers games from our schedule on TNT. That's not going to happen. So right away in the West, everything we do, every matchup you're going to get 1 through 8, once the play-in is resolved, has a chance to have so much intrigue. So I love the idea that, the the Thunder and the T-Wolves could be matching up against the Lakers or the Warriors. Sacramento's always a blast. They've kind of elevated. So there's not that gap. I don't feel like kind of what you said, because of the experience in the postseason, those teams have a great chance to not only just win the series, but keep advancing. They tread a little water in the regular season. They put themselves in this position that they don't want to be in. But once you start with the playoffs, everything changes because you're getting days off, sometimes multiple days off. The way it works in the first round, especially if you're one of those big market, high drawing television teams like the Lakers or the Warriors, you may play a day off game. You may get 3 days off. So the first round, there's no benefit to youth. So if you're Minnesota and Oklahoma City, you're not getting the benefits of being young and fresh-legged because of all the days off in between. That really starts to show up in the second round, and then there's the grind of the playoffs shows up in the conference finals and then the NBA finals, but not in the first round. So it's wide open in the first round, in my opinion. All of those teams you're looking at there could stake a claim and make a run at least to the conference finals, in my opinion. I think like Denver, LA, like the Clippers, your team, Jimmy, if they kind of get it figured out, they could certainly make a run and get to an NBA finals this year. So wouldn't surprise me with any of those guys.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.